What's up, everybody? It's the Z-Man, Zac Blobner, Brian Richie alongside me. We are amped, even more so than usual, for episode 6, game 2 of the Lightning Panthers. So we got some hockey talk this evening on the sports slate. Also, the Rays are in Baltimore this week. Everybody knows Brian is a huge O's fan, so we'll talk a little bit about baseball on the other half, the other segment of the show tonight. We got some good beers, as always. Brian, I know you're excited. I'm excited. We're going to feature Bootleggers Brewery over in Brandon, and our guy, Chanse Haas, who is the GM and production brewer over there, is going to hop on with us in a matter of moments. Brian, I know you stopped by there earlier today, as did I. And I got some good beers. I got some good beers from them. You know, one of the cool things about checking out their cooler, and I was talking to Chance about this, they have beers from other local breweries too, not just in Tampa Bay, but in Florida. And then they have some out-of-state stuff. And I was like, oh, man, like I got a little mix and match here, bro. I felt like I was at like a giant store, and I'm chilling at Bootleggers, like just a great selection, man.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I walked in there, Chance was at the bar, but he came right over when he saw me looking at the fridge. He's like, yeah, what are you looking for? He's like, you an IPA guy? So he had me pegged right off the bat. And no, it was awesome. Because, you think about that too. Sometimes like breweries are going to try to steer you like only towards their in-house stuff. But like you said, he was all over the place. He's like, we got this. These are great from this brewery here. And then I was like, hey, well, I'm here to get some bootleggers. So show me what you got here as well. So that was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's also a part of the No More Pours podcast. So he does kind of what we do, probably does a better job of it, looking through some of the old episodes and stuff. And the cool thing, too, talking to Chance, is he was already in Lightning gear when I saw him earlier today. He's a big Tampa Bay sports fan from the area. So he's very much on board with not only the brews in town, but the sports in town. And Tampa Bay, Brian, as you and I have talked a lot about here, recently over the last few months, there's no better place to be. And now we're getting our summer weather. So we got beach weather. We got everything rolling. It's a great time to be.
Stanley's been tanning for a year, man. So he's I think he's enjoying it, man. Keep him here in Tampa for another year.
He just refinanced his property. Lord Stanley's staying around for another year. I think he's looking to stick around. But let's go ahead and get episode 6 rolling here again, season 2 of the Craft Beer Playbook. A reminder to everybody, we have a great beer map set up at thecraftbeerplaybook.com. So as we always say, if you're coming from out of town, in town, check that out. It'll help you regionally kind of get a feel of where to go and what to see. Or if you're in one area and you're looking to branch out, like if you're in Sarasota, going to St. Pete, if you're in Brandon, going to downtown Tampa, up in Apollo Beach. Like, we got all that mapped out for you at the website. And you can also follow us. If you're watching now, you're probably watching on one of our social media networks. If you're on Twitter, it's at Beer Playbook. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, it's at The Craft Beer Playbook. And then also we got the YouTube channel rocking. And here we go right now. Chanse Haas, again, he is the production brewer and GM over at Bootleggers in Brandon. My God, Chanse. What's up, Chanse? How we doing?
Yeah. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
Cheers. You know what? Chance, this is the first episode we've done where I didn't open a beer before bringing the guest in. I'm shameful, dude. I'm going.
I always like to wait so I can pour out, get it nice and fresh here right as we get going.
There we go. I like that.
So, Chance, what are you drinking?
I'm actually having our Pinstripe Pilsner, man.
Nice.
Very nice.
Staying light, got to hydrate. It's going to be a long night.
I love it. So I was
you said you're going to the watch party, right? Tonight for the
watch party, and just going to hang out and drink some brews, have some Babes Pizza out of Brandon, and just have a good time.
So, Chance, I've opened up the Oba Jesus, the red ale. So give me the background on this one here.
So great, hey, it's a classic Irish red. You're going to have a little sweet maltiness, Oba Jesus came out. We have a brewer. He's been with Bootleggers for a long time. He's the head brewer, and Greg, and he likes a lot of Irish music, Irish sayings. So there's a couple things he says, and sometimes it's Oba Jesus, So we just decided, hey, what a great name! He named it. It's great. It's a good Irish red, solid.
So is he Irish?
He's absolutely. I don't think he is. I think he's a Viking.
It's funny you say that because we make fun of Zach sometimes. He, out of nowhere, will just randomly get this Irish accent. Sometimes we have no idea where it comes from. I don't think he has any Irish in his lineage, but
it just depends on what I'm drinking. Like if it's liquor, what kind of liquor it is, what beer. It's all of a sudden different. Like I'll get real Southern sometimes. Sometimes I'll sound like I'm from up north. Like you'll get some of the Northerner out of me. It's just it's whatever beer, alcohol I'm drinking.
You're becoming the beer man. That's what it's all about.
I'm that invested, Chance. Like whatever I'm drinking, I become. The other cool thing is we asked the cans here. I love it for love of the craft and the people. Circa 2015 here of Bootleggers, but I noticed there's a bunch of signatures on the cans. I'm assuming that's staff.
Yeah, it's all the staff who opened Bootleggers, who's been around, who joined Bootleggers. Nice. We all have a part in it, from not just from the brew team, but from the from the team that's going to be up there in the bar selling it and talking about it, drinking it, enjoying it. So we figure, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's do it. And if anybody needs any kind of signatures to forge anything, it's a perfect label. I'm kidding, but yeah, we're one big family here, in the industry. And so, hey, why not just kind of celebrate everybody signing that first release can that we did?
Nice. So I always like to ask, because it's been a goal of mine for quite a long time since I got into craft beer. Eventually one day I'd like to open my own brewery, but I always like to hear kind of the story of some of the other owners of breweries and kind of hear how you got started and really what turned you on to craft beer initially to the point where you're like, you know what, I want to open a brewery.
I think my journey really cranked and started. I moved to Alaska in 2011 and went up there and worked. And
you said Alaska, right? I heard you right.
Yeah, Alaska. So, went up there and hey, why not? I needed to cool off a little bit. And but I went up there, and then I had a buddy of mine who was an MP, and he gave me a unlabeled bottle, and I said, I don't know if I want to drink it. I know who you are, and so I drank it. It was very good, and I was like, what is this? He says, oh, it's a homebrew I made. I said, homebrew what? He says, it's beer. And he said, yeah. So I got locked onto that. And I was like, this is really cool, man. I'd really love to be able to do this. And so we just kind of had some fun up there. I bought a little brew kit, ordered a extract kit, and got into it like a lot of us do. And from there, just really got into craft beer, started driving all over Alaska. There's not a lot of breweries there are now, but you had to drive, half a day to get to some of them. And so we did it. We drank beer. And then I moved back to Florida. And just kept home brewing, did a lot of IPAs, did some porters. And then my family and my buddy and I, my brother-in-law, we decided, hey, let's go hit a bunch of breweries. Let's have fun. So we did. And then one day we just sat around, and I live out and I grew up in Turkey Creek and near Plant City. And but we realized there's no breweries out here at all. We have to go to Tampa. We've got to go to St. Pete. There's 1 and 2 are Lakeland, so we decided why not open up a brewery, and we did. We opened up Bullfrog Creek Brewing Company out on Lithia Pinecrest, and started there, found a great spot, and then got into brewing a little bit, but then I had to get a big boy job. I have kids, so I had to kind of break away from that, and I worked for Publix at the time, got off at 2 p.m., we demoed this building, we rebuilt the building, and then we hired a really great head brewer, Matt Morrow, who worked in Jacksonville in Georgia, and we just started brewing German-style beers and really hit it off. Everybody loved it. And then from there, just kind of traveled around and kept going to breweries and linking up, working, beer tending, and helping other breweries set up. And then started working for Fermented Reality Bottle Shop and Beer Garden with Joel Bingham. And I learned the other side of it. I learned the bar side, the retail bottle side, the distribution side. And then one day decided, hey, I want to help some other breweries out. So we came over and helped out Bootleggers. They went from a small location to a very large location, and now from a 1 barrel to a 3.5 barrel. And so my buddy Miguel Hito and I, we just came on board and kind of gave them some guidance and operations and some of the financials and the staffing and just kind of the flow of how it should work. And been here ever since, having a good time. And it's just, this industry is something else. But, we've helped out other breweries and setting up and everything else. But yeah, it's kind of my little brief story.
Yeah, it's funny because Brian and I talk a lot about like how forever it felt like Cigar City was the only brewery in town. And obviously now it's just blown up. I mean, whether you're talking about Brandon Riverview, you mentioned Lakeland, you can go up to Apollo Beach, you can go past that north, you can go to St. Pete, Sarasota. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere. Tarpon Springs, right? And it sounds like you really were like, you got a chance to up close and personal see a lot of that growth. I mean, just how far has this craft beer community come, you know?
Oh, it's intense. I remember when I first moved back, when we decided to go brew hopping, we did the Tampa Bay Times. Forgot what it was called. It was Tampa TBT, almost like an L Trail. I can't remember, but they give you a map, and there's 44 Tampa Bay breweries, and we hammered them. I think we did them within maybe 3 weeks. I mean, that was our goal, to get it done as fast as possible, and we got a free glass, and that was great. But the great thing about it was being able to talk to like everybody in each of the breweries, and really talk, just not to the owners, but we talked to the beer staff and the brewers, and what do you like about it? What's up? What are you guys doing? And there's so many breweries that are out there, but they're all doing their own awesomeness. They're doing a lot of great things, not only just in making beer, but for the community. Like, you talk to a lot of them, and they're involved in so many programs. And yeah, I mean, but we're everywhere now. Now I look at the map, I get the new Eltro. Freaking A, we're booming. It's everywhere.
That's awesome.
You can ride a scooter anywhere you want in Tampa and show up at a brewery. It's pretty awesome.
Hell yeah. Hey, I want to back up a second, because I've only ever known one other person who's lived in Alaska, but from what she told me, there was a lot of crazy stories of living there, and it's just like its own world. So I want to hear your craziest story from living in Alaska, something that would freak out these Floridians down here.
Are there igloos? Is that a real thing? I've never seen one.
So way, way, way up north. So Alaska's very big. I mean, you look at the map and you can put your finger on. I grew up. I didn't grow up. I was living in Chugiak, or Eagle River, which is north of Anchorage, and so I would probably say you can look at Fairbanks and go, "Oh, it's only right there. It's like Tampa and Orlando," but it's not. It's about it's a long drive through nothing. Basically, if you break down, I mean, the last guy's a law. It's called the Good Samaritan law. So if you break down, you have to pull over and assist that person.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
But I think the craziest thing was year one. It was just like, all right, what do we do? Or it's July. It's beautiful in Alaska. And then as winter got closer, you're like, man, what do I do now? I mean, it's going to get cold. And we're at Halloween. We're doing Halloween with the kiddo, and it started snowing, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, it's October 31st, and it's snowing. What does this mean? And of course we know. So we got the worst snow. We broke the record that year, 160 something inches in snowfall.
Oh my God.
And obviously I drove an Acura. So the craziest story is my son and I went to a hockey game. It was the Aces up there, and as we're leaving, we had to go up the steep hill. I had a front-wheel drive Acura TSX. I love that car. And we were going up this hill, and it was icy. So we're going. Everything's fine. All of a sudden, we stop. And I'm pushing the gas. We're not going anywhere. We're just kind of...
Oh, man.
And then we started sliding backwards.
Oh.
And so, yeah, there's no control. As you're sliding backwards, you're looking back, and there's cars that are coming, but you're like, well, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And
finally, we missed everybody. We wound up in the berm, and then the next day, I went out and traded the car in and bought a FJ Cruiser. And I was like, I'm done. But there's a lot of craziness up there. Now, I would say a funny story would be my mom at Thanksgiving, because she watched a lot of cable. So what do you call those Alaska shows? Whatever they were called, they were hot at the time. So Thanksgiving came along, and she shipped me a big box, and inside the box was cans of cranberries. It was just all the stuffing and Thanksgiving to-dos that you would eat. So I call her and I say, Mom, this was expensive. Why did you ship this up here? And she goes, Son, I've seen the shows up there. And I said, Mom, I got a super Target, literally 5 miles in town. I've got a super Walmart over here. Anyway.
So she's thinking you're like literally in an igloo just trying to survive,
hunting
right?
polar bears.
She was thinking, we're out hunting moose and everything else, and whatever we can do to survive out there, eating snow, all of it.
Oh man, just don't eat the yellow snow, right? I learned that at a very young age.
Absolutely not. I would highly recommend not doing that. But
have you eaten whale blubber?
I have.
What?
Yeah.
It's called muktuk.
Muktuk, that's right. Now, do you cook it? I can't remember. Is it raw or you cook
Brian,
it?
how do you know about
I
this?
told you
What
I
is
knew
the
someone from
Fun
Alaska.
fact.
No, it's raw, and I work for the Alaska Native American Indian folks, and in a hospital up there. So they used to come and they would bring foods and stuff. So I had muktuk, I had dried seal. Do not recommend it. A lot of meats, caribou, all of it. Reindeer, unfortunately, I hope there's no kids on. Rudolph's delicious. But just a lot of meats that are out there that are really good. So and all natural, and the fishing's great.
That's awesome. We're talking with our guy Chanse Haas, GM and production brewer over there for Bootleggers in Brandon. This is episode 6 of the Craft Beer Playbook. And Chanse, you mentioned like some of the other brewers and beer, makers around town you've met with, and we've got some mutual friends. Our guy Houston over with Bastet. We talked about Coppertail a little bit. It's such a great community. And you mentioned Fermented Reality, and I'm drinking out of they're called B cups, right? And you and I were chatting. I was telling Brian, so Brian and I got to you at different points today. You threw me one of these glasses and I about shit my pants because I was not close enough to catch the glass. I didn't know it was plastic and my heart dropped, but these are awesome, man. I mean, they're really cool. And I was looking like biodegradable. Like
he wouldn't have caught it anyways.
Screw you, Brian. So tell us more about these glasses and you guys are logoed on there and everything.
Yeah. So Joel Bingham, we were at Fermented Reality Bottle Shop. He came up with this idea. It's just kind of his baby. And the great idea because you think about it, you go to the beach, no glass. You go to Riverwalk, no glass. You can't have glass in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
So he designed and came out with these cups, and he had different versions, stout, farmhouse, all of that, IPAs, and it was a great addition to anything that you want to do. So. Excuse me. So we were sponsors of our Bootleggers were sponsors of the Best Florida beer, and so we hooked up with the B cups and was able to put Best Florida beer and then also Bootleggers Brewing on the backside. And yeah, I mean it really took off. We sold a lot of cups. Obviously, we had some cups left over, and but I mean it's a great item to have when you're out and about, and especially my kids. I have a 6-year-old. He drinks his milk out of it because I know he's going to drop it. It's going to
Smart.
happen. Going to happen, and I have a lot of beer glasses that are very dear to me, and he knows he can't have those yet until he's at least 21. But I'm kidding.
Get him started early.
Hey, who knows? By the time he's 16, maybe that'll be the law. It's a changing world.
It is. And I think it's gonna happen. We'll see what happens. I mean, my grandmother started us pretty young, so she was German. So yeah.
Now, you talked about how you got started up there in Alaska doing some home brews, and I'll be honest, I tried a home brew once. This was when I first started getting back into craft beer. It didn't really go well. So it tasted like a beer, just not like a good beer that I would want to drink. So what's your advice to someone who's like getting started? Like, because obviously you're dealing with, one of those home kits. There's a lot that can go wrong because there's a lot of things that you don't know how to do properly when you're doing it the first time. So for people that are trying to get started and maybe start to brew some of their own home batches, what's your biggest advice from what you've learned?
I would say research. There's some really good videos out there. Northern Brewer has a really good step-by-step, what do you call it? Like an educational video they give you. But they open up a kit, they show you step-by-step what they do. And I watched that video, had to be over 30 times. I took written notes, how do I set my timers for this? Now, my first beer didn't come out great. I mean, it was okay. But then I also took it to a brewery that was up there and a Glacier Brew House and had them taste it. And they were basically like, this is over attenuated. Your temp seemed like it was too high and whatever. They can really give you some good advice. Hey, what was your sparge temp? What was this? What'd you do here? And I'm very detailed when it comes to notes, so that's one of the biggest, tips I give to young brewers or home brewing. Take notes on every beer that you do, even if it's the same beer. At least you can, if it tastes a little off when you go to tap it, you can go back and say, well, you know what, you're right. I mean, I was off on this point, or whatever it could be. Just ask questions. That's the biggest thing. Is a lot of homebrewers will come in, they'll bring you a bottle, but they won't ask the detailed questions.
Yeah.
And anything that you do, ask questions. Don't assume. that's my thing. But
I like that. Now, I want to ask you about the Bolts and your expectations for not only tonight's action, but really this postseason. They're coming off of obviously winning the Stanley Cup. You and I were chatting, big Tampa Bay sports fan, get your reaction to what the Bucks got going on, the Rays. But I want to make sure I don't forget, and we chatted about this. You guys have this really cool thing you're doing with a bunch of other local breweries, Hope for the Day. It's to raise awareness for mental health. I know there's a big event coming up, and I started just reading into this. It is layered in the amount of people that have put a ton of effort into helping this thing get wings and grow is phenomenal. So, Chanse, can you just give us a little bit more info on this Hope for the Day event you guys have coming up and just how this all came together?
Yeah, absolutely. It all stemmed back to, during COVID. During COVID, we all went through a lot of change, especially in the service industry. Countrywide, state, or earth, across the entire earth. And we had some friends, and everybody has those situations where they have friends having a hard time. Things happen. So actually, all of a sudden, Jillian Lynch over at Levin Brewing posted that she connected with Joel with Hope for the Day, and they put together this whole idea of almost remember the resilience beer they did for the fires in California. Let's get some fires started for mental health and mental awareness and everything else. And so they did, and they got all us excited. So basically, it's craft beer for mental health, and it's gonna benefit. So the proceeds are gonna go to the phone call center. So if you have somebody in Valrico, Florida, is having a tough time, they can reach out to Hope for the Day, and they will give you a contact person in Valrico or super close and link you with that person. And then kind of, and help you kind of follow up and do what you need to do to try to figure out what you need to do and everything like that. So 300 breweries got together. It might be more. I don't know what the number is now. 5 or 6 countries around the world. They asked us to come up with an idea, and it's what they called it. It's called the things we don't say IPA. And so they sent us a recipe. And it's from the recipe is written by Eagle Park Brewing and Distilling Co. I believe they're in Wisconsin. So we're going to brew this. We brewed the same recipe, the base, the hops, the yeast, and we add a little bit of a twist, adding some fresh Madagascar vanilla, and we added some fresh sweet orange peel, just to kind of give it a different, make it more, I guess you call it Florida, a little citrusy and things.
I like it.
So we're going to have a release party at noon on Saturday, this coming Saturday, and we're going to donate. Majority of the proceeds are going to go to the Hope for the Day. We've got 3.5 barrels of it, so we're hoping, it does very super well. It tastes really good. It's really fresh. And it's a 6.45 New England IPA.
And I'll tell you, with a cause like that, it could be the worst beer I've ever tasted, and I still will love every second of it, brother. It's awesome that you guys got together. It's awesome there's so many people in the community here that are getting together to make all this happen and bring awareness and raise money for it. And, I talked to you about that, like the community. Me and Brian bring this up all the time, Chanse, and we chatted a little bit earlier today about it, how nice of a tight-knit, even though it's a giant community, it's tight-knit. I mean, you run into somebody, well, they know somebody else that they drank beer with, and you just find all these like layers of connections. And it's honestly, I love drinking the beer, but I love finding out those extra circles of connection that really only exist because of the craft beer community. It's an amazing thing to see, and it's amazing to watch, this whole cause come together and you guys to get involved in it. Now, you mentioned the event Saturday. I get the feeling you guys are going to have a certain game on TV around 12:32, hopefully over there. And that's what takes us to our sports talk, baby. Chanse, I need to know, what are you feeling in terms of tonight with the Bolts and Panthers and just this playoff season when it comes to the defending Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning?
I feel good. I know, obviously we didn't hit number 1, and that's okay. We had some pretty big injuries this year. Watching game 1, I was a little nervous. Cooch, he's been hurt, so it's like he's coming back on his day 1. How is he going to skate? Is he, is he going to stay healthy? And well, obviously he answered that pretty damn quick, and it was just like, once you see that, and then, what I love about this team is, you can lose 2 very prominent, important players, and our second, third lines, the guys can come in and play hard. They do, man. This is one of the hardest playing teams I've ever seen. You know, these guys have heart. They want to go back. They want that cup again. And it makes me feel very confident watching game one and seeing Cooch, excited and in there and scoring goals. You know, I think Stamby's going to goal tonight. I really do. I got a good feeling about Stamkos. I really have. I mean, Point. My God, Point just came out. What the hell? You know, I was just like, this guy. You know, here he goes. On fire.
It was about time he woke up, because most of that game I was like, where's Braden Point? Then he scores 2, the tying in the winner. And it's funny, Chance, because Brian's a big Braden Point guy. I'm a big Nikita Kucherov guy. And we go back and forth a lot, or we have. And then last year we kind of found this middle ground of just happiness. So this year we're able to enjoy it a little bit more. Ryan and I aren't arguing as much about which player means more. We're like, they're both amazing.
They are, you know, and again, they elevate the team. I mean, shoot, I mean, I can imagine, I mean, just like, shoot, Cooch gets on the ice. He's playing, you know, you're a young player, you know, you're just going like foot's, you know, whatever it is, you're going, my God. And I got to be honest with you, one of the most excitable players I think I have watched this season, and my lady, she loves him. I got to buy her a jersey, is Sergachev. You know, that guy, I don't know, man. I have never seen a skater that can skate so long and sacrifice his body, and he becomes the net. I mean, holy cow, man. He sacrifices everything. He works hard. I don't know. I just have a thing for him. Actually, my lady has a big thing for him. And, so, you know, I got to buy her some swag and stuff next time we go. But
And he's still young too, man. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Man, that dude, he's got a future. He does, man. I don't know. If he can stay healthy, that dude, man, he is just a little rabid, feral hockey player, man. I love it.
Yeah, you talked about, like, you know, how many, like, the star power obviously the team has, and like a guy like Sergachev, like having a guy like Hedman on the team to learn from, obviously, like, you know, arguably the best defenseman in the league, like what that guy does and being able to kind of coach and mentor a guy like Sergachev, I mean, it's invaluable for this team. And you know, you see that toughness kind of trickle down, and you see a guy like Hedman that gets in there, he's scrappy. And I actually think that, you know, this type of series, you know, you saw this on Sunday, it was like a war, right? I mean, it's like trading hits, big hits back and forth the whole game, in-state rivalry. I think that, like, you know, usually the Lightning in years past have kind of struggled with really physical teams. But like, what do you think about like this series, Chance, like getting that out of the way, having this type of tough, hard-hitting rivalry type of series up front?
You say getting it out of the way. Both teams are getting just beat up. We hope whoever wins is going to hopefully they're healthy.
No doubt, you know, and it actually, I think that, me personally, I think Lightning's more physical this year than last year. We were more finesse last year, you know, and we were just making it happen. This year, teams have come out and said, all right, we got to play the Lightning physical. If we can just play them physical, get them out, get their heads out of the game, then, you know, we have a shot, you know. But the Lightning have been giving it back, you know, and that's what we have to do. We really have to do it. Because these teams, if we don't do it, I mean, that damn hit Bennett did. I mean, targeting hit. I mean, come on, man. You know, that stuff's going to happen because they want to get you rattled. They want to get you out of the game. But give it back to them, but you got to stay cool and keep your head in the game.
I want to ask you too real quick. I know you got to run here, heading to the watch party, Chance. Just wrap things up with you here. When you look at the other two big sports in town with the Bucks and the Rays, starting with the Bucks, what was your first reaction when Tom Brady signed, and how fun was last season?
Man, to be honest with you, I mean, he's probably the one player that I had respect for up in New England, and not the Discord, you know, Gronk, those guys, you know. But I mean, I was not a Patriots fan. I got a cousin that we go back and forth for about 16, 17, 18 weeks, you know, about, you know, Boston and Tampa, yada yada. But you know, signing him, you know, I just kind of had a feeling that he was going to elevate the team. You know, you're bringing somebody in who's, my God, who's been through it all, you know, and losing record, and he's got the rings, you know. But, you know, what really impressed, I was unsure in a sense too. He's older, but, you know, what really got me was being able to take a team. In the beginning of the season, you got a little nervous, right? It's just like, man, we're not clicking, man. We're just, something's not defense. He was able to get everything, get the team ready to roll. You know, and by mid-season, I was like, man, this might happen. This might be the season. And then keep going, and, you know, and then just seeing, and all of a sudden, here comes the defense, you know, and the defense woke up. But I got to be honest, man, I was nervous with Kansas City because, man, speed, weapons, you know, and Mahomes, I mean, that dude, But man, watching that, it reminded me of the defense, back in the day, with Brooks and Sapp and all those guys, man. I was like, man, if we can keep this team together, it's going to be the Chiefs and the Bucks again. I said that, matter of fact, I think it was probably the day after I was talking to my buddies. I said, man, if we can keep this team together, we're going to be doing the same thing over and over. It's going to happen again. And I seriously think we're going to pull it out. I really do. I've been through it all with the Bucks. I was at the stadium when you used to get in for free. And then tickets finally went to $5, and I was like, that's crazy, $5. Come on.
The old sombrero, baby. Hopefully they get I don't know about you. Are you in on the creamsicle jerseys? I hope they bring them back.
I love the creamsicles, man. I really do.
Thank you. Me too, man.
I that's my era. I grew up in it. I still have my dad's hat. He had the what do you call it? The newspaper delivery boy hat. I forgot what they call it.
Oh, nice.
The old Bruce on there, and it even he cut his finger at the game. And I remember he was doing something and cut his finger on the bleacher on the concrete, and he still has his little blood stain on the top.
Oh my gosh.
And so I love that creamsicle stuff. Matter of fact, that creamsicle hat I bought, it's pretty old, but I've worn that every game if they've won. So I haven't washed it. It smells like
like victory, Chance. It smells like victory.
It smells like winning, but I'll be wearing that.
Now it does, yeah.
No, I love the team. I've been through the worst, been through the best, and obviously they win the Super Bowl, so now I can't afford tickets. But no, I'm kidding.
But hey, we still get them on TV. We get to watch the champs defend it. Last one for you here before we get you out. Any final thoughts on the Rays? Obviously, I think that's the most polarizing team in town because there's hardcore Tampa fans that don't give a crap about the Rays. There's hardcore Tampa fans that think that, the Rays don't get enough credit. Like, I feel like the Lightning and Bucks, it's pretty even keel, but it's such a wide margin when it comes to the baseball team.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. You're absolutely right. We definitely have a different vibe with the Rays. What we're doing right now, shoot, man, we're under 500, then we hit 500. Now we're winning again, and we got some bats, we got some decent pitching. It's just, the energy right now, and again, I've lived here my entire life. We call it's the across the bay syndrome, and don't get me wrong. I'll go across the bay and drink beer, no doubt about it, because there's great breweries out there. And I'll go to a Rays game. I love going to a Rays game. They're fun. But it's still that Tampa, St. Pete stigma that's out there, and I hear it all the time here. If they move the Rays to Ybor, holy crowd, we're going to have people from Orlando, blah, blah, blah. But we got a great team. We have a great team. We have a young team, and it's just, I think if they have another great season, which I really do, I really think they're going to have another great season. I really do. I think people are going to finally get excited about it.
I hope so, man. I really do, Chance. Well, hey, we appreciate a few minutes. I'd keep you for another 30, but there's a game coming around, and I know you're excited to get out to the watch party.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Hey, man, we'll come back and see you at Bootleggers and Brandon real soon. Cheers to you, my friend. That's our guy, Chance Haas. He's at now. If you see him at the watch party, say hello. Shout him out. We'll see you later, buddy.
Hey, take care, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a blast.
There you go. Again, Chance Haas, the GM and production brewer over there at Bootleggers. That was awesome, man. Yeah. It's one thing. I could talk to Chance probably for another 30 about beer and then another 30 about sports. Like, we could do another hour, Brian. But hey, we got a game to watch ourselves.
I love getting the big sports fans on here too. It's nice. Oh, yeah. It's nice to kind of hear those memories. And obviously he's been a big Bucks fan since, like you said, since when tickets were free to get in. You don't hear that too often from the hardcore diehard fans here in Tampa. So it's really cool to hear his story. Starting in Tampa, moving to Alaska, eating some muck tuck, and then coming back for a Super Bowl ring with Tom Brady. That's a unique story.
You always know it's a diehard old school Bucks fan when they bring up the old sombrero, because it's the only time I hear people bring it up, or fans that have been going for like decades. And it's awesome just to chat with him. And we enjoy Bootleggers, and it's funny because he brought up Bullfrog Creek Brewing. We also talked about, Three Bulls in the mix. And it's, we start to get stories, man. That's what I love about going to these breweries. Like, we just were at Three Bulls. We were golfing with our friend at not Three Bulls, at Bullfrog. We were golfing, so we stopped by there the other day. Three Bulls will always be special. You asked me to be the best man at your wedding at Three Bulls. And at Bootleggers, one of our best friends told us about his first child on the way. So like, they're just, hey, I don't know if it's like a thing now, but apparently breweries are like the places that we like to bring.
Those are life events now, man, especially for us. Anyways, cheers.
Yeah, you ain't lying. I got to fill up, man. I'm not gonna lie. I crushed that IPA from Bootleggers. So when we return, we finished with Chanse on the Rays. Rays play the O's. We're gonna talk a little baseball on the other side. This is the Craft Beer Playbook. I'm Zach. That's Brian. That's Brian. I'm Zach.
Regular guys, we love craft beer. We love sports. So,
Belichick or Brady? Who's the guy? I think one of the conversations we have the most about the Lightning is the Steven Stamkos dilemma and how much he contributed to that cup.
Like, does Eli Manning deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? I like that.
Of course you do.
It's their specialty there at Angry Chair.
Magnanimous. I'm wearing the hat right now.
Hidden Springs.
And Brew Bus is another great thing here in Tampa Bay.
Here, let's show off the can here. Coppertail Brewery.
Like, that's interesting. That's tasty. I don't know if I could have a full one, though. Best beer you've ever had?
Oh, I smell it. That's got a good aroma. That thing's strong.
Smacks you. Again, this is the Craft Beer Playbook. Zach and Brian. Make sure you're following us on all social media. Easy to find at the Craft Beer Playbook on both Instagram and Facebook. At Beer Playbook on Twitter, because apparently there's too many characters in the Craft Playbook.
Community. And if you feel you're part of the community who A, loves sports, B, loves craft beer, or both, right? Then this is the spot for you, and we want obviously help growing this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
We're gonna have no problems drinking these.
We might have to get double beers next time.
I'm ready.
Back at it. It is Zac Blobner and Brian Richie here on the Craft Beer Playbook, episode 6. Huge shout out again to our guy Chanse Haas, the GM and production brewer over there with Bootleggers in Brandon. One of our favorite, spots really close to our hometown area too, where we did a lot of hanging out growing up and drinking. Of age, right before of age, whatever. Right?
Always of age, not till 21.
Yeah, for sure. So we finished with the Rays. I want to go back to them, Brian, because Baltimore had a hot start to the. We've had a weird year with the O's, right? Like, we started the year on the Craft Beer Playbook, and Fangraphs gave them a 0% chance to make the playoffs. Then they come out and they start out like 6-0 or like 7-2, and they're like one of the hottest teams in baseball the first 2 weeks. Then they start to suck. Then John Means throws a no-no, right? And I just
should have been a perfect game, but whatever. That's the story.
It should have been. It was, the drop ball by the catcher. I don't hold it against them, but people will argue that was a couple weeks ago. And he's a guy that I think the Rays are supposed to see game 2 or 3 in this series. But man, there was a glimmer of hope there for the Orioles. And to be honest, I think from top to bottom, they're probably in the hardest division because the Rays, Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox at the top are all just crushing it right now.
Yeah, the Red Sox, obviously, we talked about this before the season started. We both expected them to be really bad, and I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's
waiting for it to drop off.
I know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, this isn't real. Then another week goes by, and they're still in first place, and you're like, all right, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Yeah, man, the Orioles, like I said, I mean, you knew, kind of chatting with me about this before the season started. This is kind of how I expected to go. They played, they took a step in the right direction last year. They've got some young talent. They've got, again, John Means, he's been solid for them for the last couple of years. He was their only all-star player 2 years ago when they had the all-star game. Off to just a torrid start right now. I mean, just sub 1.5 ERA, sub 0.75 whip. I mean, he's pitching lights out every single start. And he didn't have a good spring, so it's kind of surprising. But I guess some guys just kind of, flip the switch, come out there and just, rock and roll when it's regular season. But it's like I said earlier, man, this team's not going to ever hit its stride until they start pulling some of these young guys up. They've been rebuilding the farm system for many, many years now. They've had a lot of high picks. Number 1 overall pick, Adley Rutschman, the catcher. Yeah. Once these guys start coming up, then you can really judge the talent of this team and some of these draft picks. But until then, it's going to be a lot of these short-term flashes and then kind of, cratering back to earth until they really start bringing in more talent.
Yeah, on the flip side, the Rays just, swept a series against the Mets. They came off of a win against the Yankees prior to that in the final game of the previous series. And now they're going up against an Orioles team that's really struggling at the moment. So I think Tampa Bay has an opportunity here before heading to Dunedin for the final series over there against the Jays. And then Toronto will head to Buffalo for the remainder of the year or until Toronto lets them come back. The Rays are in a good place right now, though, and they've still got hitting down in the minors that they could call up halfway through the summer. Pitching still coming along. Patino could, find his spot in the rotation. Shane McClanahan already has. He's the solidified starter. Brendan McKay's getting healthy, who, in my opinion, if everybody's fully healthy, is the number 2 in this rotation. So a lot to love on the Rays side of things. And, there's some other like random baseball stories I want to hit on with you, B. Albert Pujols signs with the Dodgers, and it's just kind of like one of those things I think as sports fans where like sometimes you see players in jerseys they shouldn't be in, and I give you a hard time about Zach Thomas in the Cowboys jersey. I'm trying to think of some, like, honestly,
Jason Taylor in the Jets jersey. That was
I wasn't going to do
sickening.
all Dolphins. Warren Sapp in a Raiders jersey, right? Now, sometimes it works out, like John Lynch in a Broncos jersey. Like, people are like, yeah, he's in their Ring of Honor. Tom Brady, I think, after winning a Super Bowl, people are like, yeah, I get it now. He's a Buck. But most of the time, you don't remember that. Like Emmitt Smith in an Arizona Cardinals jersey. Like, people don't remember that.
Johnny, I remember LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, man. He spent his entire career with the Chargers. And then he had a really bad falling out with the team, and they cut him or let him go, whatever. And then he signed with the Jets. And I remember he got a Jets tattoo the first offseason before he started playing with them. And you were like, that's kind of weird. Like, I've seen some petty shit, but like, you spend your entire career building your legacy with the Chargers, and then you get a Jets tattoo because you signed with them in the offseason.
That's like bitter X. That's like bitter X type of stuff.
Bitter, crazy.
And it's like, okay, like you realize, like, as the bitter X, getting a tattoo of me makes you look dumb and crazy, not me. Like, you're not hurting me. Like, and those are all football. I mean, Johnny Damon played for the Rays. Like, most people probably don't remember that outside of Tampa Bay, right? Spent so much time in Boston and then went to New York. Carl Crawford in a Boston Red Sox jersey, like that was an irrelevant part of his career. So it's interesting when these guys hop and go to different teams. And where did LeCavalier go? Didn't he become a Flyer for a little bit? Obviously, Marty St. Louis and the Rangers, that's one everybody remembers. But I think like Vinny LeCavalier becoming a Flyer for like a season and a half or whatever is like another thing lost in history.
No, I think he was I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Brad Richards, I think, went to Dallas, right?
Brad Richards went to Dallas. He went to another team too. I think he was with the Rangers for a little bit. I think he won another cup though, like on one of those teams as like a 4th line or 3rd line guy, like not one.
We're gonna phone a friend on that one. Get our boy Charlie in here to give us the NHL.
Hoping to see him sooner rather than later. I mean, with Bolts hockey in town, it's the best time to talk to a
real quick
hockey referee.
I'm gonna open up another beer. Where are you at,
bro? So I opened up the Oba Jesus from Bootleggers. So we always talk about IPA or not IPAs, red ales, right, B? Because I feel like they're such a like mystery beer because you can make them go one way or the other. Like IPAs, you expect them to be super hoppy. Like porters and stouts, like, yeah, most of them are going to be like, they're all darker. Most of them are going to have somewhat of a coffee taste or chocolate, right? Like maybe vanilla. And, red ales are always interesting because it's like, is it more ale or is it more red? And this one to me is, I know that sounds dumb, but like that's how I approach red ales. What is it? The Tokabagna from Cigar City, like that one's super hoppy. For a red, this one to me is like a darker red, and I know I had it at the brewery at Bootleggers. I don't remember. It feels a little thicker, and I don't mean that like in a negative way, but like I was expecting something a little more crisp, and it's got a little bit more weight to it though.
Yeah, so I just finished that one, and I thought that was really, really good as far as the red ale goes. I mean, it's got that sort of caramel taste, right? Like almost like a toasted caramel, sort of like a darker, thicker sort
That's what I'm saying, though. It's leaning towards the darker stouts and porters. For sure. Yeah. I was caught off guard because I went from the IPA to this. So I was in the mode where I was like, oh, this is gonna like be crisp and pop. And it was like, oh no, not exactly what I was getting myself.
A little deeper on the ABV too at 7%. I know that's nothing crazy, but there's a lot of red ales that are in the 5 to 6 range, and obviously less. So this one you can taste the difference.
Yeah, what was that old Skittles commercial? Taste the rainbow, taste the difference. That'd be a fun brewery slogan. I'm pitching it. We'll see if we can get it going. I'm texting Chance right now. I'm like, yo, I got the motto for this beer.
How'd you like the IPA, by the way? So this is the Lushable Crush.
I loved it. I loved it, man.
Now, is this a hazy or?
It was super refreshing. I think with IPAs, again, everybody's weird how everybody breaks things down different. Neither of us are, what is it? Sommeliers or whatever. Sommeliers. Neither of us are that. But like for IPAs, I usually think, okay, is it going to be super hoppy or super juicy? Because usually for me, I either get a lot of the hop or a lot of the citrus, sometimes both. Sometimes it's super subtle, but those are the two flavors I look for. And this one to me was really juicy, and I liked that about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you got that right, man. I tried the Bromosa, I think on our last episode, the Big Storm one, the Tangerine IPA, and that was really good. But like, it goes back to what we said, man. It's like drinking a beer. Where and when you drink it matters. I mean, as you know, like me and my wife Fabi went out and spent the weekend on Clearwater Beach, and man, we hit up. I went into this like restaurant. They had all these taps. It was kind of far away, so I couldn't see, but I instantly recognized the Bromosa, and I just had that. And I was like, it's really good. But man, like that hits different on a beach, man. Like a beach like restaurant. Like I got that. And I was like,
different in the sun.
I was like, this tastes way better than it did the first time I tried it sitting in my office. Like on a beach, it just like was super refreshing. But like it just goes with that mood, like certain beers just taste different in certain moods in certain places. So, but I can get down with both of these, man. These are both really good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the beers as well. Bootleggers, a great job. We got our guy Finn's fan Dan on the chat. By the way, back to baseball. I gotta talk Yankees. I gotta talk Yankees Rays with this guy every other week now. Thanks for linking us up there, B. No, he's a good sport, and that's what I love about the show. We continue to have these conversations with the people we have on it. People that are not only fans of sports but fans of beers. And man, I had a couple other things on baseball. Did you see Kevin Pillar take the ball to the face?
Yeah, you mean Phil?
Blood,
our buddy Phil.
Our buddy Phil. Blood everywhere, bro. And it reminds you, even though baseball's not a contact sport, that's some scary stuff, bro. When you got 90 plus coming high, you forget how scary it is until you see a guy just.
Let me ask you. All right, so I'm gonna piggyback off that, right? So for you, Zach, what do you think would be most scary for you? Would it be? All right, hold on. I'm gonna give you some options, right? So let's say you're in the batter's box.
I hate blood,
and you have to try to get a hit off of Noah Syndergaard's best fastball. High and tight, by the way. He's going to throw you inside.
Syndergaard? Okay? Why don't you go DeGrom? Go with the good pitcher.
Whatever, DeGrom. Either way. You're going to get some heat inside, okay? Their best fastball in the inside corner. Or you get the handoff, and you're going up in the hole against Levante David. Which of those scares you more?
Going in the hole. I mean, how many, I'm going to be honest, how many baseball players have CTE? Those hits, I mean, look, and I know things happen when you get hit with baseballs, but you have an opportunity to avoid that. Not that you will. Levante David in the gap, he's putting you on your ass, and you're going to be, dizzy.
He's putting you on your ass.
Number 23 is a beast. He's putting you on your ass too, boy. Nah, it's I'd rather go with a baseball. Now on the flip side, you see back to hockey as the Bolts get ready to take on the Panthers. You see these defensemen go down, right, and slide and take pucks to the leg, and I'm like, no way, dude. I'm sorry. I'm letting you score, dude. If you think I'm gonna lay down for a slap shot, take your goal. Vassy, figure it out.
Take that shirt off, Zach. I'm
not thinking a puck to the rib cage, dude.
Terrible.
These guys are insane.
Call yourself a hockey fan. Terrible.
There ain't enough smelling salts in the world. Although I would love to.
Smelling salts don't deal with pain injuries, bro.
Yeah, they do. They wake you up. They're like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Have you ever used a smelling salt?
Well, it's ammonia. And funny story, in middle school, we had a science teacher, forget her name, but she used to say that she would, actually I saw her do this one time, but she would use ammonia for anyone that fell asleep on their desk. She'd come by and just literally put it by their nose, and they'd wake up freaking out. I saw her do it one time.
Ammonia?
It's
you just killed a kid.
It's intense. So I did smell it. Yes, I've smelled ammonia one time, and it will light you up, man. It's like nothing you've ever smelled before. Now it's been years, so I don't remember, but But yeah, it's that's intense.
All right, man. I'll let you go because I know you're trying to get out and about to see our guy, half Iron Man, now full Iron Man, Tim, another friend of the show that was on recently with us. But Brian, it's been a great episode 6, man. Looking forward to kind of getting through the rest of this season. We're halfway through season 2 now.
Yo, prediction for tonight, real quick. What you got,
man? So I got some of the things right on the first game, but my score prediction was wrong. I predicted 4-2 in game 1. I'm going to stick with that. I think tonight it's a 4-2 victory for the Bolts and Sunrise as well. I do want to hop on what Chanse said. I think Stamkos gets a power play goal since he was the one in the big 3 kind of left out looking from the outside in on terms of scoring. So I like Stammer with a goal, and I like a 4-2 victory and a 2-0 series lead coming back to Amalie. I know we won't talk until after that. So just for what it's worth, I expect them to lose that first game at Amalie, and I don't know what's going to happen in game 4, but I do think the Lightning will have a 2-1 lead.
I'm going to go 3-2 Bolts, and I'm going to say Braden Point has 2 goals tonight.
2 more. He had 2 last game.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Rack it up. He's on his revenge tour for the Conn Smythe.
So last game he had the 2 last goals. Does he have the 2 last goals again this game, or is he starting with the 2 goals this game?
No, he's going to score the first and the second goal, and then the third is going to be probably an open netter at the end of the game.
By Kucherov.
That's fine. We can do Kucherov.
Thank you. Come on, give him some credit. Still underselling my guy.
Well, I guess it can't be an open net because I just said 3-2, so that would make sense. But either way, I'll say Kuch can score the last goal. I'll take Braden Point the first 2 goals.
Could you imagine? The Panthers are bowling their goalie. It's a tie game. What are they doing?
That's ballsy.
Oh, I love it, bro. All right, well, I'll talk to you during the game. Everybody, we appreciate you listening. Again, we'll see you next Tuesday night coming up for episode 7. Cheers!
Yeah.